everybody. It is so great to have you here today. What an amazing audience that we have. Welcome to the Cassandra Summit of 2014. Today, here in our San Francisco location, we have about 2,300 people that are going to be packed into this venue all day. Or at least that's the number we're going to give the fire marshal, because I'm not sure we're allowed to exceed that number. So we're going to say it's 2,300. But we think this distributed thing is a pretty good idea. So we don't want to just distribute the database. We went ahead this year and distributed the actual conference. And that means we have thousands more right now watching with us via live streaming from all around the globe in over 30 cities, from Amsterdam to Dallas, from Stockholm to Paris, from Sao Paulo to Cape Town, and dozens more right now are joining us live. So a big welcome to our streaming audience that's with us. And I'm so excited about the conference for you because no matter where you are in your journey with Cassandra, there's something here for you today. We're going to have on stage in a moment, in fact, companies that are on opposite ends of the spectrum in size. We're going to have Sony Entertainment Network on the one hand that's been doing game-changing technology since I was a kid for decades. And then we're going to have Orbius, an 8-person startup that is revolutionizing the way we think about our photos and our videos. And then after the keynotes, you're going to get into over 60 sessions that are just going to be jammed with information that you need to get you on your journey. And so we're really excited about you being here, but I think it's more than just a regular conference. In fact, if I think about all the talent that we have here today, it kind of reminds me what it must have felt like in the first moments after the Big Bang. Because if you think about it, really, everything we have in the universe was once packed into a small location, but it was backed by unimaginable force, and it was just waiting to explode. That kind of feels like today. That kind of feels like what we're doing right now. And I'm so appreciative and grateful for the opportunity to be here talking to you. And in fact, I want to call out a special thank you to 3 groups of people. And I want to thank them on a timeline, chronologically. This first group will be represented here by the handsome Mr. Jonathan Ellis. And those of you that don't know that name and that face, Jonathan is the Apache Cassandra chairman, and he'll be on stage here after me to tell you about the amazing things that are taking place right now with Apache Cassandra. But Jonathan represents a group of people that are really special because you in this group, you came and chose Cassandra at a time when the choices were anything but obvious. You guys remember 4 years ago, 5 years ago, there were new technologies that were popping up. It felt like every day. But you had the foresight and the fortitude to make a choice and back what would become the leading distributed database in the world because of you. So we owe you more than I can say in terms of a thank you. Now we move to a next group that could be represented here by somebody like Sonia, who's been with us for maybe 1 to 3 years. And 1 to 3 years in this market means you are a veteran. You are a card-carrying veteran because this market is moving so fast. And what you did in this group was pretty amazing because you took Cassandra from the shadows and you brought it into the light. And usually, if you're honest, you probably did it without permission in most of your companies and rolled out a lot of production systems that you weren't supposed to roll out. And then you told people later, but that's okay because you had conviction that what you were doing was going to change your company. And it probably did, and they're probably really grateful for you today, as are we. And then we have a third group. It can be represented by folks like Daniel. And this group is probably joining us today for the very first time. And maybe this is your first Cassandra conference, and maybe you're not sure what all this stuff is about. Well, we absolutely have a place for you because you are going to create an impact that's not going to take technology from the shadows into the light. But with this group on board, guess what? We're going from the light into the mainstream. And it's happening right now. The question is why? What's driving this? Why is this happening so quickly and so radically and with such impact? I want to ask you a question. I hate when people ask me to do things in the audience, so I'm not going to ask you to do anything weird like hug your neighbor or anything. But by a show of hands, please let me know how many of you come from a relational database background, or would you say you're really, really good at writing SQL code? Real quick, show of hands. Look around, guys. That's probably 4 out of 5 people in the room for those that are watching us live on streaming. And I got to tell you, when that skill set is represented with this magnitude at a conference like this, something special is happening. Something tectonic is happening. And it's happening right now, and these kind of shifts don't happen very often. That's the thing about them. They're huge in the database market, but they are rare. Every 20 to 25 years do we see a disruption like this. So lean back and relax, and I'm going to take you back in time. We're going to go back to the last one. And we're going to take you back to a point in time, 1992 is where I want to take you. And in 1992, I graduated from one of the top technical institutions in the world. Now, Stanford would make the list, but it wasn't Stanford. Berkeley might make the list, but it wasn't Berkeley. And if you're streaming and watching on the East Coast, MIT is probably in that list. But if you're a fair-minded person, I think you'll agree, one that stands tall among the giants is the great University of Louisville. And maybe the University of Louisville isn't known as the top paragon of technology, but I got to tell you, for me, as a steel town kid out of Pittsburgh, it was a real privilege to go to college. And I got there in a way that may not be common to a lot of our engineer friends in the room. I went there on a football scholarship. That's how I got to school. And so I was an offensive lineman, and as an offensive lineman, I had a very distinct set of friends. And my friends tended to look like this. Some of you are looking at this for the first time, so I've never seen people like that in my life, right? And they pretty much act the way they look. And so this was my friend group during the day, and I lived and slept and ate with these guys all the time. But I was an engineering student, the only one, in fact, on the team. And so that meant by night, I had a different set of friends. And it really was in everybody's best interest to not mix these two friend groups. And neither one could understand why I was part of the other group. But I had a choice to make when we would go out and say, which set of friends do I want to go out with? But there was a more important choice I had to make during this same time. I was graduating with a computer science degree. It's 1992. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, not exactly Silicon Valley, so therefore technology gets a little slower to make it there. And I had a real choice to make with my career. Anybody with gray hair, like me, might remember this piece of hotness. Younger people are sitting here thinking, what's that, right? This is a really hot, cool IBM mainframe. And on this side, I had people telling me, this is where you want to bet your future. This is where everything is happening. This is the tried and true technology. In fact, it was running a database that was built in 1968. It was called IMS, the Information Management System. Okay? 24-year-old database, tried and true technology, do it, do it, do it, do it. That's where I was being driven. But I had a choice, and the choice on the other side was this new technology. We called these pizza boxes. For those that are old enough to remember, this is Spark Station. And on the Spark Station, that's not what really got my interest. But in 1992, something else happened. There was a database company that introduced some groundbreaking new ways to deal with data. This thing called referential integrity was now capable in the database with procedures and triggers and all kind of cool stuff that you could do in the database. And that company was called Oracle. And so I had a real choice to make, and I chose Oracle, and I'm so glad I did. Because by making that choice, I introduced an era of data management called the relational database era. And it was awesome. And this era was all about how things related. So I was a person, and I was a person in a database, and I had attributes about me. I have a first name, a last name, a date of birth, those kind of things. And maybe I shop at a grocery store. So there's another table in the database called a grocery store, and that has an address and tax code, and information about it. A grocery store has products. So the products go to a grocery store, the grocery store has a person, and we all relate together. Relational database. And this served us really, really well for a very long time. In fact, because we know now about how things relate, we can do things with that information. Like my grocery store can give me a loyalty card or a discount card. It goes on my key ring. You probably all have them, or somebody in your family has them. So they know about me, and that was really, really great. But here's the deal, guys. Something is changing. It's changing fundamentally the way that we deal with our data. And that is the introduction of the concept of time. How things relate are no longer good enough. Now you have to understand, how do these things relate through time? How do I walk through time with information? And when you do that, you have changed the rules dramatically. You've heard the saying, time stops for no one, including the database. Now you need always-on architectures. Now you need full distribution. Now you need to handle data rates that were never in the minds of the people who created old technology. I don't get on the old technology because it's bad, it's just antiquated. There's a different set of rules now in a new era that changes the game. And if you don't get a handle on this new type of data, this time series data, we call it, and you don't understand how this fundamentally changes your architecture demands, you're going to miss it. You really are going to miss it. Because in a world that changes and looks like this, where you are radically connected and at the same time your life is fully distributed, whether you know it or not, you have to come up with an architecture that can satisfy this demand. And if you really want to blow through the chaff and get through the marketing hype and all the different players in NoSQL, and you want to know where we stand different, you peel back the layers of Cassandra until you get to this beautiful architecture at the core, and that's where everything begins. Because in a radically connected, fully distributed world, you need a radically connected, fully distributed database. That's Cassandra. So, if the world is changing, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to your companies? What does it mean to your career? Because I got to tell you, the shift that happened in the early 90s, that shift was huge and impactful to people like me who built an entire career doing this stuff. What's it mean to you? I'm going to give you these three numbers to think about: 20, 20, and 60. And what we're going to talk about is how these numbers relate to percentages of workloads that are out there in the world today. If we take and we think about the first 20% of workloads, these are now becoming our legacy applications. These are those relational applications that are going to be fine for a very, very long time. How long? I don't know. But if you're interested, in 2005, IMS announced they were supporting web services. So IMS is still around. Okay? I'm not sure who's using it, but it supports Java and web services for those who care. So it's going to be with us for a long time. Now, it's not growing. It's a pretty static piece of the market. I don't think it's why you're here. I don't think it's why you're at this conference. I think a lot of the draw at this conference is about a new game-changing set of applications and workloads. And this set of applications and workloads, it doesn't match really well with the old world. What does this look like? Because a lot of people are struggling to get their minds around, okay, Billy, I understand, I hear all the theory, but what does that look like in real life? Let me give you an example. There is a blood disorder called sepsis. Sepsis happens when you get an infection so bad in your body that your body starts to turn against itself and it starts shutting down organs one at a time, leading potentially to death. Now, I had some firsthand experience with this with a family member who had it. He's okay, he made it through, but it was horrific. Horrific. They put him in a coma for 4 days, jammed him full of antibiotics, brought us into a waiting room and said, it's up to him. It's all we can do. There's nothing else you can do about it, nothing else we can do about it. The condition is typically so severe when it's detected that that's all they can do, so they feel a bit helpless. Tens of millions of people die from this condition. But a company called Amara Health Analytics said, no, There's got to be a better way. So what they did was they started with this concept of a patient, no revolution there, because a patient fits nicely into the old world. I have a name, I have an admission date, I have an insurance card. But they said we need to create a patient timeline. We have to be able to walk through time with this patient. So it's not about the relationship, it's about the time. And they said to do that, immediately we're going to have some different kinds of data, because we need to understand what's going on with that patient. And the way we understand that is through notes. Doctor's notes, nurses' notes, caregivers' notes. That is that unstructured, semi-structured data world that doesn't fit well at all into the old. So that's disqualifier number one. I have certain new types of data that doesn't fit well. But then, you know, when you go into a hospital, or if you've seen somebody in a hospital, as soon as you check in, what do? They start sticking things all over your body, right? A bunch of sensors go on you. And Amar Health said, we don't just need this, we need more. We need lots more. We need all of that data, and we need that data coming in continuously. That's that time series data. And with that data, and with the old data, and with the new data, now what they can do is say, we will watch that patient as they move through time, and when we feel like there's an at-risk condition that sepsis might occur, we can notify a healthcare provider and say, you might want to take a look, you might want to intervene early, and maybe, just maybe, we don't have to put people in comas for 4 days and shove them full of antibiotics if we catch something earlier. Folks, that's not just game-changing, that's life-changing. That kind of relationship to our data changes our life. That is so powerful. And so if you think about those kind of use cases, and if you ask Amara Health Analytics, and it's documented on the DataStax website, and you ask them, well, what was the process like choosing your database? They said, we never even looked at relational databases. Never considered it. And startups have that luxury, and many of you in the room are from companies like that, but more of you in the room are from this next number, our final number. Wrong button. And this final number is the middle 60. So what's going on in this middle 60% of the workloads? These are applications that were designed and written on the old architectures. But I got news for you. If you're not a startup, if you're here with a traditional enterprise company, here's your challenge. The faster you can move applications out of this 60 into this kind that look like this new 20, that is everything. That is everything to your company. That is everything to your career. Because if you can take your traditional enterprise and you can infuse that data-centric DNA that was born in the internet companies that understand how to build entire ecosystems and business around this data, and you infuse that into your existing enterprise, which is what we help do at DataStax, you become what we call an internet enterprise. And an internet enterprise is a classic enterprise that takes all their power from their market position, but says, we're going to now act with the potency and the force and the nimbleness of data-driven organizations. And that will change the world for traditional businesses, or it will end the world for traditional businesses, because you will not be able to keep up. So what could this look like? Well, I told you about the grocery store, and I get my little grocery card, right? Okay, fair enough. But let's imagine a different world. Let's imagine a world where I come in and I visit you at your office, and I take a protein bar, and I like it, so that's pretty good. Take out my phone, scan the barcode of that protein bar. Now it's on my shopping list, but not just my shopping list, it's on my wife's shopping list, my kids see it, everybody sees it at the same time. It's getting a little more interesting. What if at the same time it said, hey, by the way, we have these in stock at a store that's 6 minutes from you. The average wait time in that store is 4 minutes. If you like this, there's a really good chance you're going to like that, and how about we give you a discount on that? If you haven't stopped and gotten milk, by the way, last time you bought milk, it's expired. So you might want to pick up a jug of milk when you're here too. Then I go to the store and I take out my phone, and guess what? Now my app becomes my personal concierge. It walks me through the store. It guides me exactly where I need to go, and I hate shopping. So it takes me through the store exactly where I need to go, giving me what I want, when I want, at the price I want. Now, you tell me which one you want. You want to be a company that gives me a tag that I stick on my keychain? Or do you want to be a company that suddenly finds a way to live my life with me in a way where suddenly I now want to be part of that relationship with you long term because you're benefiting me, you're changing that. And this isn't theory, folks. This is happening right now. One of my favorite DataStax customers is Safeway because they are taking this grocery experience and they are doing some of these things I just walked you through right now with plans to do so much more. They are changing their company from a classic enterprise to an internet enterprise right before our eyes. It's happening right now. And it's so great to see that. Guys, I don't know what the future is going to look like. I can't tell you the exact specifics on when and how big and the markets and all that stuff. I know it's going to be huge. I know that instinctively because I've lived it. And while I don't know the future, you know what I do know? The authors. That's you. You are going to write our new universe. You're going to create it. I can't think of a better time to do what we're doing. What a world. What an opportunity. And to watch you guys be able to do it up close and personal is just humbling. It's humbling. And what I want to do now is I want to talk to some folks who are actually doing this for real. So again, we move out of the theory. Conferences like this are about people who are really doing this stuff. So the first guest I want to talk about is, as I told you, from the very big end of the spectrum, Sony Entertainment Network. Sony's been changing the world over and over for so long. So would you please join me in a warm welcome to bring Jeff up on stage? Jeff, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It really is important that folks get to hear from real life people doing things. So how about we start with just an overview? Sony Entertainment Network, what are you guys up to? What do your teams look like? How big? All that kind of thing.
So Sony Entertainment Network does some amazing things. We deliver awesome entertainment experience. PlayStation, you probably all are aware of that.
I've heard of
movies, video, TV, music, and we're adding more and more all the time. So it's an exciting environment. There's 250 million plus customers globally.
Wow.
So we have a scale challenge. Our headquarters is in San Mateo, California, and then we have development facilities in San Diego, San Francisco, Tokyo, Wisconsin, LA, several facilities. We use an agile development environment, so safe, enterprise agile scale. Our teams are 7 to 10 in size. And
so you keep them pretty small.
Very small teams, very nimble, very agile, quick. We work in basically 2-week iterations, and so we're very quick to deliver capability. The faster we can do that for our customers, the better. And I think that gives a pretty good background on where we are. It's a very fast-paced, energized environment.
Great. So Sony is an iconic company to many of us that have watched what they've done over the years. Has just been remarkable. I have to believe that you either have access to or can get access to any technology in the world. What started your thought process about exploring, we'll call it non-traditional software like Cassandra for some of these really mission-critical needs?
I think you helped tell the story just a few minutes ago. For Sony, and our business in particular, it's a rapid growth business, huge growth. We're growing at 40 to 60%. And so in order to keep up with that growth and be able to deliver the features our businesses and our customers demanded, we had to do something different than the traditional technologies we were using. As we looked at the landscape, you talked about it 4 years ago, said, oh, we have to do something different. We looked at the technologies that were available then, and Cassandra was one that was out there. Great community support, and so it was as we looked at that, we said, wow, this is something that could work. But there were key things that we were really interested in around operability, ability to deliver features rapidly. I mean, it's all about iteration and rapid delivery of capability, and then how can we operate this at scale? So those were big business drivers, big technology drivers that we were being pushed to deliver against.
And I think that's a big one you just touched on, that at scale, because we can make anything work I can make a nice database work on my phone if I want to, but the challenges come when it's time to all of a sudden hit the gas, right?
Yeah, again, global distribution, 250 million customers, and the business wants to add new services, capabilities for our customers. We're iterating on those constantly, and so the ability to rapidly do that, our traditional technologies just didn't allow us to move that quickly. And with Cassandra and great community support, and then support from DataStax to enterprise support, it was just a great combination.
So I want to tap into your wisdom a little bit. We have a lot of people in the audience who are just getting ready to start moving into production. You've been doing this, you said, 4 years or so. What are a couple of the really key lessons learned that you faced, that you overcame, that you would like to not make again if you could relive it?
Yeah. Wow, there's a laundry list, for sure. Anybody that's deployed a new technology, especially a data technology at scale, into the enterprise, I'll say it's risky. Let's just say that. But I think the benefit here totally outweighed the risks that we were taking on. And I think it's more approaches to use to avoid some of the pitfalls. We have a couple other groups that are presenting here. We have our PS4 a group from our team that enabled a ton of capabilities for PS4. Alex and Dustin are presenting, and actually at their session they're giving away a PS4. So, and then Chris McHenry is also, or Mac, is also going to present on operability. So they'll go into great detail on those learnings. So go to their sessions and they'll give you great detail. But I think we used a few approaches that really helped us be successful in avoiding some of the risk and pitfalls. One is we did a ton of proof of concepts. We continue to do proof of concepts. And we don't do those by ourselves. We leverage the community, and we leverage DataStax along that journey. So we tried it, we proved it. And then as you deploy into production, there's no big bangs. It's, hey, let's try something small. And I've seen this pattern over and over again. Let's try something small. Let's get it working side by side with other capabilities. And then we can gradually increase traffic to it, gradually add more capability. And eventually, I mean, we're in a place now where our developers are clamoring to add more and more capability.
We see that a lot.
So,
it happens a lot.
So it's a lot about testing it, making sure that not just developing is the easiest part of what we do. And we can rapidly develop anything. But operating it at scale with high confidence for our customers is the challenge. And so then having the community support and having the DataStax support and enterprise support is really critical for us.
Great.
So those are probably the biggest things.
And the sessions I know will be jam-packed with information. I'm going to ask you a question that's going to sound really silly to the audience. You're going to say, well, that's an easy layup question. And I was going to ask Jeff, have you been successful? But here's what I mean by that. A lot of big data started around the analytics side of the world. And we captured tons of data, and then there was a bit of an emotional letdown because the answer sort of didn't just appear out of nowhere. These are different. These are your transactional backbone applications. How do you measure success? And be honest, has it been successful?
So I would say our journey up to this point, and it's a journey. I think you've described a transition from legacy or older technologies to where we are today. It's definitely a journey. I think our journey has been highly successful so far. Again, some of the presentations we're going to do today will talk about, man, the business was pushing us really hard to deliver capability for the PlayStation.
That's key.
PlayStation 4 we were launching. The team was actually, in a very short period of time, able to deliver a laundry list of new capabilities that we didn't have before using this technology. At scale, PlayStation 4 has tremendous growth. And that is a service. That thing has to be online all the time. We've had tremendous growth there. And then operability. You got to be able to operate the thing. Total cost of ownership is a big deal. ROI is a big deal. Security is a big deal. All these things. So that all has to play in.
All these boring things we've been dealing with.
All these boring things.
Years,
the security guys care about stuff. I don't know. So again, really easy to get it developed, but being able to operate it at scale, and I think we've had success there. We've had really good success. It's a journey as we add more and more into this environment. We'll see. So far, highly successful.
So the reason I think that's an important answer is because It's not just success wasn't we needed this throughput and we got the throughput. What I heard you say was success was when the business said,
yes,
we need this, we responded. Is that fair?
The business said, and our customers tell us every day they love the stuff we're delivering. Great. So the services we're delivering, people love the environment. And so both the customers and the business saying, yeah, it's working.
Great.
And it says a lot when the developers are clamoring for more. Yep. Can I add my stuff? Can I add my stuff? That? Can I add my stuff? That? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, you are going to get slammed by people who are going to want to talk to you all day. The sessions that you guys are presenting are going to be great. Will you all join me in thanking Jeff for coming up and sharing a little bit?
Thank you.
Okay, I told you that we were going to go to different ends of the spectrum. And next, if my thing will advance, we're going to talk to a very small company, kind of the opposite of Sony. And Yi Li is the CEO of a company called Orbius. Orbius is revolutionizing the way we look at our photos and our videos. They're also so small that they actually qualified for our DataStax startup program, being so tiny, and that's how I got to meet Yi. It's been a great relationship. But since they're all about media, I thought a great way to do an intro before I bring her on stage, let's take a quick look at an Orbius video about what they do.
There's an explosion of photos and videos uploaded every day, even every single minute.
We're uploading literally billions of videos and photos of everything from our pets to ski trips. One of these days, we're actually going to sit there and want to look at them and be able to find them. The challenge we're faced with is how to organize all this data.
At Orbius, we help computers to understand visual input and make it universal, indexable, and searchable.
Orbius specializes in image-to-text conversion. We are the only company to provide a proprietary cloud-based image analysis solution that makes sense of not just faces, but also scenes and objects.
At Orbius, we use a lot of cutting-edge algorithms like machine learning, neural networks, deep learning to automatically understand image.
By using the 2 to 3 million images uploaded to our platform every day, our models are learning to see detail on the level that you'd expect with human sight.
By every new image we process, our engine getting smarter and smarter. At Orbius, we process huge amount of photos and videos, and one big problem we encounter with is how scalable we can be.
DataStax offered us something that the other companies didn't, and that was a flexibility for us to quickly add new servers and expand. With DataStax, we're working with technology that scales with our needs. It's accessible, it's fast, and it's always up and running. At Orbius, we know how important it is to have the right technology. And for us, that's DataStax.
Would you all join me in welcoming Yi to the stage? Good morning. It is so good to see you again, Yi. Thanks for coming. Yi and her team have been such a pleasure to work with since the moment we met them. If I understand that video right, what you guys are doing is obviously capturing all this information, processing it, applying a bunch of deep learning to it. But there's another element as well, which is you can actually start to learn through time. If you photograph people or things, you become more familiar with them as you get them. Is that a fair statement?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Okay. So when you go about doing that and you're trying to capture this stuff, I've heard this claim many times, I have to tell you. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this before. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there that recognizes on my camera when people are smiling or whatever, so I've heard the claim a lot. I'm a little bit of a cynic. I'm an older guy. I've heard all this before. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. I'm going to ask you here in front of everybody, how are we going to be able to prove this, that what you're doing is really all that?
Mm-hmm. No problem, Billy. Not only am I going to prove it to you, actually I want to prove it to the audience in life. And I want to use you as a guinea pig. Everyone, do you want to see me using Billy as a guinea pig?
All right. I will warn you, first of all, I've been called much worse than a guinea pig, so that's fine. You saw the offensive line pictures. But you're talking about doing a live demo. This is a room full of incredibly technical people Have you all ever seen a live demo go good? I'm not sure you have, but if you're willing to try this, what do we do?
Well, let's give it a try.
Okay.
So you seem still have a little bit uncertainty about whether the live demo gonna be succeed, but I think the audience have faith in me, right? What I'm going to do is I will use this regular iPad to take a picture of Billy, and let's see what we can get.
Okay, so I see things moving around down there on the bottom. Do I need to smile or?
Yeah, actually, here you can see we capture Billy's face in real time. So that's why when Billy changes his emotions, all the figures are changing in real time. Our software is every. That's fun, right?
It's my offensive lineman look.
Yeah, it looks good. Our software is very curious. It is figuring out first whether Billy is a man or a female. You can see here.
Did we get that right? Okay. Just checking.
Yeah. And it also figured out how old Billy looks like, and whether he looks happy or sad, surprised or calm. Give us a big smile. Let's remember this moment. Okay, that's it.
All right, that looks pretty amazing. So what is going on with all that stuff behind the scenes there? That feels like there's a lot of information being processed. Talk a little bit now about the technology behind this. Why did you turn to Cassandra, and what is its role in absorbing all that data?
Yes, you're right. As you all can imagine, with many photos, as you can imagine, with many users, all these figures we're pulling up here becomes a lot of data, and that is why we use Cassandra. Without it, we would never be able to keep up with the scale. And with Cassandra, we can keep adding photos or even like real-time video stream without worrying about performance. And the more photographs we're getting of you, the better we can understand and recognize you in the future.
So let's talk about that part, because as you said, they will take your video over time or your pictures over time,
yeah.
And you're going to learn more about me over time. Does this have a little bit of a creepy factor to it, though? Like, I don't want you to know I went to the bathroom 6 times in the last hour.
Well,
like, are you scanning me all the time? How does that kind of play?
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people have that fear, and that is the most people's first impression. But there are also some other cases where people want to be recognized. They're recognized to receive special treatment. For example, some regular shopper, some frequent flyer, or a VIP.
Okay, that I can understand. You have a VIP or an MVP and you want good special deals or offers or treatments. We have a lot of people here who are MVPs as an example. So could that be a use case where you had people at a conference like this say, hey, we found an MVP, we're going to do something special?
Would love to. Yeah, it's a little bit risky, but I would love to go over there and take some photo of you MVPs in the audience. See whether we can recognize any of them.
We talked about this last night.
Yeah.
We could do a slide, but you actually want to go try this.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Go have at it, Yi. Give it a shot.
We have already taken some photos in the MVP in the audience, so let's try. Oh, yes, sorry. Okay, here it is.
Patricia.
Now we recognize
All right.
Patricia. She's an Apache Cassandra consultant. And yeah, let's try other gentlemen. Okay, probably here.
No, we didn't do this.
It just take a second.
So I told you not to do a live demo. I warned you.
I'm nobody.
This was going to happen.
Oh, Billy, have some faith. This person has not opted in our system. That's why our application is ignoring him.
So you opted out. You said you didn't want to be part of it. Okay, I understand that.
Sorry. But we still can include those proper information in the system. Name is not required. And you see, that not have to be creepy.
That's awesome. So why don't you come on back up, Yi? So that's a really, actually, I think the conversation about the privacy and all that stuff is going to be a big conversation. You guys are going to be part of that conversation. What I love is that companies like Orbius, though, they're going to democratize that capability so that it just doesn't get in the hands of a few people, but everybody can start to leverage it. So I think that's really cool. Mm-hmm. Now, as interesting as that demo was, I've got something even harder for you. And if we can pull this off, I'll become a customer when we leave the stage. Now, I gave you some galleries of my family. I have 3 daughters. And one of the hardest problems I know in life is to get my 3 daughters all smiling with their eyes open in the same picture. Can you browse my galleries and find me that image?
Would love to help. My pleasure.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, I know it's a big challenge. And we got a solution.
Okay.
We've built a very smart photo application where we can easily find the photo you want in a second by just input some specific criteria, such as people's name, their emotions, sceneries, geolocation, time, and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Can you see my screen right now?
Yep, there it is.
We got it. So here, we already got Billy's photo, and I put his 3 daughters' name, Alexa, Lehigh, and Macy here. It's all their photo.
You just butchered their pronunciations, but that's okay.
And now, as Billy mentioned, I put another criteria, smile. You see, it just put all their smiling photos here.
Let me see. Pull one up where we can actually see if they're, zoom in there a little bit. Are they smiling? Are their eyes open? There they are.
I don't think so.
All right, I'm going to become a customer. That's a pretty cool example. And that can browse all my libraries, everything with that app.
Yeah, exactly. But just with 1 more minute.
Okay.
I know you like hiking a lot.
Take your time, Yi. We got all day. Go ahead.
And I would love to show you one more step, like finding them smiling while they're hiking that.
Okay.
So I can add more like hiking. So here you go.
Cool.
It's all their hiking smiling.
So I could add beaches, or I could add parties, or anything. Yi, fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.